everybody. So today we're going to do a flow that is focused on playfulness and also heart opening, and I'm calling it Let Your Heart Be Light. If you like to do yoga with music, I did make a Spotify playlist, so you can find me. I'll actually put a link in the description to my Spotify playlist. But it's just kind of lighthearted music that goes along with the flow, and hopefully you enjoy that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And we're going to start ourselves in child's pose. So come to the back of your mat. Feet are together, knees are wide. I'm just going to move my mat up a tiny bit. There we go. Okay, knees are together, feet are together, knees are wide. And then we're just going to stretch out into child's pose. And just take a few deep breaths in this position. Foreheads to the mat, arms are stretched out in front of you or they can be relaxed. Breathe in, just start to settle in to your breathing. Start to let everything go that is distracting to you. And just sink your hips a little bit lower into the mat. Starting nice and slow with our practice. We're going to walk our hands over to the right side of our mat. Stack your left hand on top of your right. Drop your head down, drop your hips back. Getting a little bit of stretch into that left side body, all the way through the left arm and shoulder. Breathe in and out a few times. Beginning to come into your Ujjayi breath. We're going to go back through center, walk your hands over to the right side of your mat, or your left side of your mat. Stack your right hand on top of your left, stretching out the right side of your body. Hips are still low. Breathing in and out. We're just going to walk our way back to center. Press yourself up into a tabletop position. We're going to take a couple rounds of cat-cow. So we're just going to look up to the sky as we inhale. Exhale, round your shoulders, round your back. Look at your belly button. Inhale, breathe in. Shine your chest open. We're going to begin to take just a few dynamic movements here. So you can take your hips to the opposite side of your shoulders. You can do circles. You can move your head around. Whatever feels good, just settle into your practice. Maybe one more each way. And we're going to do some stretches on our wrists here. So this will help you if you sit at a computer. Actually, first we're going to turn your fingers towards your body. And you can, kind of move around in this a little bit too. Bend your elbows to deepen the stretch. It's a nice movement. Then you're going to come around and you're going to put the tops of your hands on your mat. Don't put all your weight into them. If you do, it's going to be intense even if you don't, but it's going to be super intense if you do. But just kind of lean back to stretch out through that forearm. And just pull back on your hand. Pull down on your fingers and towards your body. Feeling that stretch through your forearms. We're going to plant our hands. We're going to push ourselves back into a downward facing dog. First one of the day or night. So take some movement here. Sink into your hips. Pedal out your dog. Maybe come up on your tiptoes, and we're going to fall over to the knife edge of our right foot, pressing back into that down dog. back through center to the left. Pressing in. Come back through center. Look forward. Step forward. We're going to come into ride dog pose. Feel free to bend your knees a little or a lot. Just playing around with what feels good for you there. You might want to swing your elbows side to side, but whatever you're doing, make sure your head is very heavy, that it just hangs. And get that nice stretch through your back body all the way down. Breathe in. We're going to rise up to Tadasana. Hands together through heart center. If you're listening to music, feel free not to om. Otherwise, we'll begin with 3 ohms. Om. Arms up, full through heart center. Inhale, halfway lift. Shoulders are down your back. Your tailbone is pressing towards the back wall. Your head is long. Really feel that stretch. Plant your hands. Step back into a high plank position. Again, making sure that you're stacked here. And then just come down to low push-up through up dog on your inhale. And press yourself back to downward facing dog. Go ahead and pedal that out again. We're going to do a few rounds of Sun A. So look forward, step, jump, or hop. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Tadasana. We're going to clap. Hold the energy down through heart center, straight to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. This time we're going to come back into a crouching child's pose. Bending your elbows. Come into upward facing dog. Exhale back to downward facing dog the same way you came. Okay, we're going to do it again. Look, jump. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Sweep up to Tadasana. Hold that energy down as you exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. And come back to crouching child's pose again. Bending those elbows. Feeling free to drop your knees if that feels right. One more. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Tadasana. Exhale, straight to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Vinyasa. And exhale, we'll meet in down dog. Take a couple falling out breaths. So inhale, sigh it out. One more. Let your Ujjayi breath settle in. We're going to raise our right foot to the back of the wall, stamp the wall, open up your hip, and we're just going to take a few hip circles in either direction. Open your hip a little more. Drop into wild thing. Shine your heart open. Begin to take some large arm circles with that left arm. That's your right arm. Boy, I'm having a hard time right and left tonight. So shine it open all as far as you can. Now plant your right hand. Step your right foot high on the left side of your mat. Come into side plank splits. We're going to take a couple of arm circles here actually first. Just noticing if you have a different range of motion on your right than left. And then just take some movements. We're going to plant our hand, step our right foot into that side plank figure 4, and move your hips a little bit, stretching out through both sides this way, really. Couple of movements. Plant your hand, step into a low lunge position. So just gonna step your right foot forward, down on your left knee, drop your knee. And we're gonna bind our arms. So bind your arms behind you. Just really open that chest and maybe take a few movements in this pose to find a little bit of warmth and movement in those hip flexors. Ooh. Unbind your arms, plant your hands, step into a pyramid pose. One thing you'll see, so we want our back as flat as possible. Hips are pointing back. Maybe rock back and forth. Maybe use a block to bring the floor closer to you. Always think about how you can find ease in a pose and movement towards it. We're going to plant our left hand, hips are still back, twist, open to a pyramid twist. Breathe in, breathe out. Drop your hands. We're going to step our left foot behind our right for a cross-legged forward fold, so pinky toes are touching. Walk yourself over to the right side of your mat. Breathe into that hip. We're really going to warm our hips up quite a bit today, as well as doing a lot of chest opening. Walk your hands back. Unbind your legs. Inhale, halfway lift, press back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Tadasana. Exhale, straight back down to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Come back into that crouching child's pose. To up dog. And back to down dog. We're just going to repeat that all on the left side. So inhale your left leg up. Open up your hip. Take some wide circles on this hip. On your next one, drop over into wild thing. Circle that arm. Find some movement. Shine open. You can either drop into wheel here if you want to, and that's in your practice. We're going to plant our left hand, step our left foot to the right side of our mat. Side plank splits. Take some big arm circles. And again, introduce some of that dynamic movement into your hips. Plant your hand. Take your left foot into that figure 4 position. And just drop and raise your hip. Moving your arm with it, or feel free to stay put as well. That's always a choice. One more. We're just going to plant our left hand, step into a low lunge, left foot forward, right foot back, taking that bind again. Really binding those arms, taking a few dynamic movements here. Plant your hands, step into pyramid pose. Both feet pointing towards the front of your mat, hips are flat. Draw your Left hip back by pulling through those toes. Plant your right hand this time, keeping your hips back. Twist open, using a block if you need one. Breathe in, breathe out. We're going to plant our hands, come into that cross-legged forward fold. Step your right foot behind your left. Walk your hands over to the left side. Remembering your Ujjayi breath. In through your nose, out through your nose with a little bit of constriction. Go ahead and unwind. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Sweep up to Tadasana. Straight back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Vinyasa. We will meet in downward facing dog. Okay. Take a couple of falling out breaths. You might be beginning to build a little heat now. On our next, so we're going to inhale. On our next exhale, look forward, jump forward, and sink yourself into chair pose. Tuck your tailbone, sink low, your knees are back. Maybe cactus your arms to get a little more heart opening. Breathe in and out. See if you can sink your hips 2 inches lower. Fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Vinyasa. Maybe drop your knees. Come back to down dog. Inhale your right foot up. Step it to the front of your mat. Spin your back foot. Come up to warrior one. Your hips are square. So if you need to widen your stance, however you need to, we're working towards that front leg parallel, hips square, shoulders stacked, ribs are pulled in, not flared out. Breathe into it. Inhale. On your next exhale, come down to high push-up. Chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Inhale. On your next exhale, jump forward. Stay straight into chair pose. Cactus your arms. Maybe take a bind. Whatever feels right to you. Sinking your hips lower. Hands to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Crouching child's pose. Down dog. Inhale your left leg to the sky. Step forward, spin your back foot, rise up. Warrior one on the left side, making sure, again, your hips are square. Shoulders are down your back. Ribs are in. Gaze is forward. Breathe in. Exhale. Just going to come straight into chaturanga. And back to down dog. Say, breathe in. Sigh it out. Take one more inhale. Exhale. Gonna sink into chair pose. This time, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale for length. Exhale. Twist. Making sure as you twist, that left knee comes back and is in line with your right knee. Sink your hips lower. With every exhale, you can twist a little deeper with your inhale as you get longer. You can fly your arms. You can take a half bind, whatever feels good to you. We're just going to untwist, back through chair pose, fold, inhale, halfway lift, exhale, crouching child's pose, upward facing dog, shine your chest, downward facing dog. Inhale your right foot forward, step into that warrior one, come up, open into warrior two. Toe that right foot forward so you can get your leg parallel. Another way you can use your block is to check to see if you can balance a block on that leg. So, if you can, it's flat. Oops. Okay. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Long in that side. Come forward. Still flat. We drop our elbow a little bit. Side angle pose. Whew. With side angle here, you can take a half or full bind, so half bind, full bind, rolling open that shoulder. If you want to be playful, you can step that back foot forward and begin to rise up. Whew. Into birds of paradise. Or you can stay here. So, straight leg. Whew. Step that foot back if you're in the bind. Come back to your side angle pose. You're just going to walk right through warrior. Square your toes. Hinge at the hips for a wide-legged forward fold. So here, we're just going to walk our hands out a little bit. Grab your right shin with your left hand. And feel that twist working just through that spiral line. Breathe in and out. And we're just gonna unwind from there. Put that hand back. Take your right hand to your left shin. Breathe. Walk your hands out. We're going to come back up. Skandasana, just drop down. Okay. For Skandasana, you can use your hands if you need to. Just take a couple turns there and back. On your next one, we're just going to come forward into a low lunge. We're going to plant our left hand and twist open in that lunge. Getting a little bit deeper. Breathe in. Plant your hands on the inside of that leg. And we're going to come into an up dog by bending our arms. And then straightening them as we arch our chest in. And we're going to come back to down dog by just sweeping that foot out and back. And pedal that dog out. We're going to do that whole series on the left side. So breathe in. Look forward. Jump. Sink into chair pose. Arms are up. Bring them to heart center. Inhale for length. Exhale, twist. Making sure that right knee comes back in line with your left. Sink your hips lower if you can. Shine your arms. Breathe in and out. You can come back through heart center. Fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Vinyasa. Coming back to downward facing dog. Inhale your left foot forward through the sky. Step it forward. Come into warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. As we move that leg towards parallel, our hips are in one line, gaze is over the middle finger. Inhale forward. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Keeping yourself deep in that knee. Breathe in. Exhale, side angle pose. Again, this being an opportunity to take a half bind or a full bind. In that full bind, allow your shoulder to roll open, or step your foot forward, plant your foot, and if you're ready, straighten that leg. Bird of paradise. Feel free to come back down. Into that warrior two. Square your toes. Hinge at the hips. Wide-legged forward fold. This time, feel free to do whatever you want. If you want to play around with headstand, this is a great position to come into it. You just drop your head, raise your toes, tighten your core. Or you can practice a little bit with a bind. If you want some shoulder opening, but can't get your hands together, use a strap. Allow your hands to pull your head closer to the floor. Breathe in and out. One more. We're gonna come up, Skandasana. Low and slow. And on our next one, we're going to come to the front, drop into that low lunge. Let your psoas open. Drop your right hand, spin open. We're going to plant our hand again. On the inside, bend your arms, come into upward facing dog. Bend your arms back, sweep that foot around to downward facing dog. Feeling free to pedal out your dog. One breath in. We're gonna step our right foot forward to crescent lunge. This time both toes are pointing forward. We're strong in our back leg, up on those toes. Front shin is parallel, arms are up. Breathe in and out. We're going to kick our left leg up and over into airplane. So just straight, one movement. If you need to pause and kickstand, do that. Otherwise, you can take the wrap, bring your left arm up and under, sink, lower, find a set point, set your drishti, pull everything in, elbows come up, breathe in and out. We're gonna unbind our arms, come into just standing leg raise, and then we're gonna shoot our leg back for airplane pose. Arms are behind us, palms are down, toes pointed towards the ground. If you come out of it, that's okay. I'm practicing with this little mat sample because this mat's not grippy enough. We're gonna breathe in. From here, we're just gonna come into half moon pose. So you can I'm gonna scoot back because I don't think you'll be able to see me. So from airplane, you can just drop your hand and come and get half moon. You can keep your hand on your hip. You can rise it. You can use a block. Breathe in and out. We're going to plant our hands for a half moon twist. Opening up. Breathe in and out. Plant your hands. We're going to come into standing splits. And, you know, a little element of playfulness here is to just try some handstand hops. So in those standing splits, plant your toes and just kick. And maybe even come into handstand if it's in your practice. See if you can get some hang time. Okay, I know that leg's being tired. We have one more thing. You can flow right into this, but probably not as easy. So we're going to grab the left foot in our left hand and kick out for dancer's pose. Leaning forward. If you have a hard time getting your foot, this is a great time to use a strap. So you can just plant your right foot, bring that strap up around your left foot, and you can lean forward as you walk your hands up that strap. And eventually, you'll work your foot into your hand. Okay, so we're just going to do a couple of energy scoops, a little bit of fun. We're going to reach down, scoop some energy, pull it in once on our inhale. So ready? 1, 2, and 3. 2, 3. Up. Fold down. Inhale, halfway lift. And make your way back into down dog. I'm just going to move my napkin back. Okay. So breathe in. Breathe out. Step your left foot forward for crescent lunge. Again, that back leg is strong. Glute is engaged. Front leg is parallel. Shoulders are stacked. Breathe in and out. Maybe sink a little lower. We're going to come up into that eagle pose on the right. Right arm under. Set your gaze. Pull everything in and sink as low as you can into that pose. Elbows are high. Elbows are in line with your shoulders if you can. Breathe in. This is a pose where if you fall out of it, it's perfectly fine. Just get back in it. Breathe in. We're going to unbind our arms. Come into that standing leg raise. Shoot your leg back. Making sure you're rooted in that standing leg. Airplane pose. Gaze should be on the floor just a little bit in front of you. Again, these balancing poses can be tricky, and that's the point. Trying to find a little stillness in them. Oops. Okay. So we're going to drop ourselves down into half moon. And for this side, I'm going to use a block. So your sides may be different. That is normal. Do what you need to do to express the pose in the way that you can. So this may be where you come with it. You could grab that foot for a bind, kicking into it. Woo! Not today for me though. We're gonna drop our hands, square your hips, Open up for twisting half moon towards the left. And then drop your hands for standing splits with handstand hops. Keeping your legs both straight as you maybe get a little hang time. Or you might be able to come all the way into handstand. Okay, keeping that foot planted, we're gonna come up. I have to touch down a little bit for this, into dancer's pose. First, making sure you're really rooted in that standing leg, maybe needing to bend the knee a little bit. And kick in to that. You're kicking in to your hand and pulling on your foot. So this is an oppositional movement, right? That's what gives you structure and also setting your gaze. Come out of that. We're gonna do one more round of energy scoops. So, and then 3. 1. Arms up. Fall through. Inner halfway lift. Exhale. Come back to that crouching child's pose. And press into downward facing dog. Breathe in and out. One more. What we're going to do here is drop to our elbows, keeping our hips high, dolphin pose. Pressing those hips high. Walk your toes in as close as you can to your elbows, and then walk them back. Kind of like the Flintstones twinkle toes. This is you can put a strap to keep your elbows planted where you want them, but this is progressing you towards inversions, stretching the back line of your body. One more. And also preparing you for inversions. Keep your legs straight. I just bent mine. That was not intentional. Okay, so come back up onto your arms. Maybe press back to get a stretch. Pull yourself forward into high plank. We're going to dip ourselves over to one side or the other, warming up that core, stretching the left side body. Dip your hips. Press back into down dog this time. Drop to your knees for puppy pose. Walk your arms out. Since this is a heart opening flow, I'm going to bring a block for either hand. And as I drop into my puppy pose, my arms are on my blocks, providing my forehead on the ground. Just a deeper opening in the shoulders and in the heart. Sinking into that. Trying to remember to keep my hips over my knees and let this be a heart opener, not a back stretch. Breathe in. If you have your blocks, move them out of the way. If you don't, we're just going to come forward under elbows and just Sphinx pose. Toes are flat. And arms are pulling so that if you could pull the front of your mat back, you would as your heart opens. We're going to come down from locust, or from Sphinx into locust. So head comes to the ceiling. We've got our airplane arms again. We're going to breathe in. Our core is tight. We're going to reach for our heels, and the reaching of our arms back lifts our chest. Engage your glutes to pull your legs up, or you can leave them down, but your core is tight, your neck is long. We're not kinking our neck. Breathe in, pull your shoulder blades together and to your feet with your hands. Get long and come down. Woo. Yeah, that feels great. And then, from here, take a few breaths in. We're gonna do floor bow. So again, you can use a strap for floor bow if that's the best way for you to get into it. I don't know if I can do it, yeah I can. So, and in fact, it's probably better to do it this way. So you can use your strap, maybe, okay, I can't use a strap. There, like this. So you're pulling your feet up that way. I'm not gonna use one. I'm gonna reach for the, around my feet like this. You can grab your ankles, lift up. As you breathe in, kick even further into those arms, opening the shoulders. Whew. Can you get a little rocking? And come down. We're just gonna windshield wiper your legs. And then plant your hands by your ribs. Come up into upward facing dog. Press back into downward facing dog. Breathe in. We're gonna drop to our knees. Come up on your knees. We're gonna do a couple of sweeps into camel pose. So over to the right, just one arm and back. Over to the right, left and back. One more on each side, sweep and arch. Sweep and back. And then we're gonna come in to full camel. So grabbing your heels, opening your chest. Let your head hang back to open that heart. Come on. We're just going to sink into child's pose for 1 second. Couple breaths. Press your way into downward facing dog. You're going to look forward. You can jump or you can just sit down. We're going to make our way to a seat. And we're going to set ourselves up for bridge or wheel. You can also do supported bridge, whichever you prefer. And I'm just going to get this pad that's a little less slippy. So I'm going to come into wheel. If you come into bridge, actually I'll do bridge first. So we're going to tilt our pelvis, press up, roll your arms under so that your shoulders are open and begin to arch. Keep your knees together and arch through to get that chest opener in bridge pose. If you wish, take a block under your sacrum for supported bridge. Otherwise, we're going to come down. Take a breath in, take a couple breaths. Some of you might have been in wheel. And we're going to do 2 more rounds of wheel. So if we are doing wheel, plant your hands, your fingers come towards your shoulders so your wrists are turned out. And you're going to first come up to the crown of your head, then straighten your elbows for wheel. You can play around here. You can lift a leg. You can, alternate lifting legs. You can sink your knee, your sacrum, whatever you want. Leg. Breathe in. Tuck your chin. We're going to come down. Maybe you let your knees rest in on one another. Breathe in. We're going to plant our hands. We're going to come up one more time. Bridge your wheel. Come straight up 5 breaths on your own. Remember your Ujjayi breath. When you're ready, you'll tuck your chin, you'll come down, Supta Baddha Konasana. Feet are together, knees are wide. One hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Slowing your breath. Slowing your heart rate by slowing your breath. Take a couple of breaths here. Breathe in. We're just gonna sit ourselves back up. I'm gonna scoot back on my mat a little bit, and we are gonna do just a little bit of abdominal work. So we're gonna first lie all the way down on your back, legs are up, and we're gonna drop our left leg, pulse your right leg twice, and switch. Pulse. Core is engaged for this. So we're working those obliques and the transverse abdominis. One more on each side. Legs out. We're going to drop your legs about 30% of the way. Core is engaged. Low back is in the mat. Drop them. Then another third. Drop them 2 inches and hold. Breathe in. Come up. About a third. Core is engaged. You can bend your knees. One more third. All the way up. Take a breath. We're going to do one more. 1/3. Take a couple breaths. Drop them again. 2 inches. Up a third. Your core should be on fire. One more third. All the way up. Sit up. We're going to set up for boat pose. So, in boat pose, you need to find your sit bones first. You can keep your knees bent and your elbows wide. You can keep your toes down. Or you can bring your arms out, legs out. You're in a V sit. High boat, low boat. High boat, low boat. 2 more, no, 3 more. High boat, low boat. 2 more. Last one. Whoop. High boat. Low boat. Let it drop. Woo. Stretch your arms and feet long. Sweep them around. We're going to come in to king pigeon. Right leg is in front, parallel. You can take pigeon pose if you want. Wrap on that leg. You can come down. Or we can, well, I'm not going to take full king pigeon. I'm going to go for this bind. For king pigeon, I need a strap around this foot, and we're squared up, and we are going to use it just like we did in dancer's pose to bring that foot as high as we can. Ultimately wanting to be able to get a nice arch to our thoracic spine that allows us to grab that foot. Breathe in. Whew. Hold it here. Whatever expression of pigeon you're in, hold it. You're going to take 4 nice deep breaths, sending them wherever they need to go. Gently let that leg down if you're in king pigeon. We're going to sweep that leg around. I'm going to take my strap off now. Rise up. Fold over that left leg. Breathe into it. come up. We're gonna do the pigeon on our other side. So for me, I'm gonna put the strap around my foot before I extend my leg behind me. You take whatever expression works best for you. We're up on that hip. You can put a block under your hip for pigeon if that helps you. If you're coming to king pigeon, either grab your foot or we're gonna, as we're in this, take 4 big breaths. All the way to that hip. Let it down. Sweep that leg around. Come up. And just down into that leg. You can come down as deeply as you want. Breathe in. We're going to sit up. Extend both legs. Move the flesh from under your sits bones. Arms up. And just fold forward. You can bend your knees a little or a lot. Core is in. If you're wanting to stretch your hamstrings, you keep a flat back. You can come all the way down and round through your back to get a little bit more into that sacral area, which feels good to me. Come up. We're going to come into tabletop pose, so plant our feet in our hands. And we are going to drop our feet for fish pose. Arching those shoulders. Another way to come into fish is to come down onto your elbows and just open your chest. Let your head fall back. You can still come up if you wish. Breathe in. We're going to lie down. Plant your feet. We're going to come into shoulder stand. So legs are up, and we're just going to pull in our core, rise our hips up, press our hands into our low back. From here, let your feet drop to the floor or a block. Cloud pose. Roll yourself down vertebrae by vertebrae to a flat back. Bring your knees up. You can take happy baby actually if that feels good. It's a good time to take it. Just one last nice stretch. And then I'm going to take a supine twist. So teeing my arms out, drop my hips over, or my knees over, gazes to the left. If you don't want to do this, you can go straight to Shavasana. Taking a few breaths here. Tee your arms out, come back through center. Drop your knees to the left, gazes to the right. Breathe in, and I like to kind of give myself a little assist here. We're going to just set up for our final Shavasana, so just completely relax everything to the mat. I am going to stop talking now because you may be listening to Shavasana music on my playlist. You're just gonna slowly bring some movement back to your fingers and toes. Maybe take one more breath in and out. When you're ready, roll yourself either to the right or the left. And pausing there for a moment. And press yourself to a comfortable seated position. Keeping your eyes closed. Hands to heart center. I want you to acknowledge the work you did today, the progress you're making in your practice, and honor yourself for taking time out for you. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for practicing with me.